Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It's Black Thor, it's Ice Water, and yours truly, Puma. We're going to go right into college football because there are some great games coming up this week that I'm eager to see. But let me run down the top 10. Georgia was number one last week. They had a horrific game last week, and they got dropped to number 2. So Alabama's the new number 1, followed by Georgia, Ohio State, number 3, Michigan, Clemson, USC, Oklahoma State, who moves up 2 spots, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Penn State. Penn State and Michigan play this weekend coming up. But the game that I want to see, I think everybody's going to see on primetime, is Alabama, Texas A&M with the Saban fighting his old coach. I didn't say fighting. I mean, going up against his old coach. They were fighting in the off season. So I want to see this. The other games I want to see also, you got USC, Washington State. You got Tennessee and LSU. LSU bounced back in the top 25 last week, and they might have a short stay because Tennessee is a good football team. I'm going to go to Black first before I go to Ice, because I usually go to Ice first when we go to college football, but I'm going to go to Black first. What games are you looking forward to this weekend?
You hit it for me, the nail on the head with Michigan and Penn State, because to me, as you start to come from one, Alabama, Georgia, you start to slide. To me, that's a bunch of fakers in that top 10, bro. And at some point, that's going to shake one out. We're going to get some fakers out there. And I'm not sure about Michigan. I'm just not sure about them. I'm not sure if they're a faker or they're for real. But time will tell how they play this weekend and beyond. I think to me will sell. So that's the game I really want to pay close attention to. I did watch Tennessee last week. I think it was Tennessee or a week before. Yeah, Tennessee and Florida. Tennessee got a good squad over there. I was going to put this to you, and I'm not putting that form as a question, but you've been riding Kentucky, and I don't.
Yeah, they got it handed to them last weekend.
All right, I wasn't sure. I thought I saw that they got it handed to them, but I thought they was bound for the top 5. My bad.
Yeah, they dropped 6 slots because they were up in the top 10. They dropped 6 slots to number 13. Also, North Carolina State, I thought they would make more of a game of it, Clemson, and they just couldn't, North Carolina State. But there's some good games coming up with Kansas. They're still 5-0. They move up 7 spots. I know Ice is going to talk about that a little bit. Syracuse, 5-0. They move up 8 spots, and they're number 22. Cincinnati and the Nasty Natty, they move up 3 spots. They're number 24. Ice, who are you looking forward to watching this weekend?
Well, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. There were a lot of teams that, like Thor mentioned about, want to find out what they were contenders or pretenders. You saw where Purdue upset Minnesota. Minnesota was rolling for a while. Everybody was all excited. Purdue took them down. It was a very good team. Georgia Tech upsets Pittsburgh, right? So you look at some different things. And Mississippi State took down Texas A&M. So it's all kind of stuff going on. But this week, you mentioned TCU, Kansas. TCU has a very good football team. Kansas has been rolling. No matter what they do after this point, you still got to give love to Kansas, because to run the way that they did so far is impressive. But now, the rubber about to meet the road. We're going to find out how good they really are. They have a great offense, but TCU is a pretty good football team. Want to see that. LSU, Tennessee, you talked about that as well. I think that's going to be a good football game. Arkansas, Mississippi State. Arkansas got handled, right? Mississippi State comes out and they upset Texas A&M. So it's like, these are 2 teams that really want to, one is on one end, wants to prove it, right? They want to prove that they still belong. Arkansas, Mississippi State is like, we're going to keep showing the world how great we are. So those 2 teams are really going after each other. I want to see that. Another great game, I think, is nobody's talking about it. UCLA is 5-0. Yeah. But they play a very game Utah team. Utah, depending on what week you see them, can be very tough. So Utah versus UCLA. Washington State and USC. Washington State, I know our West Coast correspondent can connect with this, that USC has ups and downs, peaks and valleys sometimes, and Washington State is the type of team that can upset them. Also a little bit crazy, BYU versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame has an opportunity to really kind of jump out and say, yeah, we may not win a national championship, but we can make it hard for other people. And a lot of people like BYU right now. So this is another opportunity for Notre Dame to kind of, take back some of what they lost early on. Texas, you said Texas A&M, Alabama, and one other, Florida State and North Carolina State. Both these teams, so the loser is like, you might as well get ready for next year.
Yeah, they're out.
The winner is like, okay, yeah, we still hang around. We can go to a good ball game, but the loser is kind of like lights out. So I'm looking forward to those games right there. I think, like I said, it's like a do or die situation for a lot of teams this week, and we see how everything comes together.
Yeah, Michigan plays Indiana this week, which may be a trap game going into that Penn State game. So you want to watch out for that. They play in Indiana. Indiana is a pretty good football team. They're well coached. USC, their defense is schizophrenic. Sometimes they're flying around. Sometimes they can't make tackles. And I think that's going to be their Achilles heel all year. Their offense is solid, but their defense, they can't stop anybody. And then Florida State was in the top 25 last week, got bounced right out the top 25. So they're in the honorable mentions in the rankings. But I just see those teams like LSU, Cincinnati, maybe Mississippi State. They're holding at 23. Cincinnati and LSU might get bounced out this week because, well, not pretty much Cincinnati because they play South Florida, but the LSU game, Tennessee, that's a tough game. Just getting in the top 25, and I think Tennessee is ranked number 8 in the country right now. They're a good football team. Black mentioned earlier when they played Florida, they showed what they can do. They showed it on a national audience that they are for real in the SEC. Any other thoughts, Black or Ice?
I'm not expecting much from Texas A&M against Alabama. I think that's going to be a slow, to be honest with you. I don't think Texas can hold up to them this year. Jimbo Fisher, you may not even want to show up for that one. Call out sick. Let someone else coach that one because it's not going to be pretty, man. I mean, trust me. I mean, even without the coach saying much, those players, they're going to take it to them, man. And that's going to be a high-scoring slaughter, in my opinion.
I'm looking for the fight at the end of the game when they come and shake hands. That's all I'm looking forward to.
No, yeah, they're gonna hug and kiss it out, man.
Ice, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that game. The only way it will be a fight unless Texas A&M beat them. Have a major problem with that.
All right. One of the things that on this show, we really don't watch, or at least I don't watch the preseason, and the NBA started their preseason. I guess they're only having like maybe 3 or 4 or maybe 5 games per team, as opposed to 8 games in the preseason. But Isaac, you've been checking out the preseason, and what have you been seeing?
I've seen a little bit. I know Zion's in shape a little bit now. He's scored a few points in the preseason. Everybody excited, and I'm happy for him. That's not a bad thing. I watch caught a little bit of your beloved Knicks. Man, look, it's gonna be the same thing. Y'all just got another scorer. You got Brunson now. You got Brunson to go with the big fella from the shooter from Canada, and then you got the other shooter. So you got 3 guns, and wherever's gonna go from there. Y'all should have picked up old boy that went to Cleveland, but. It'll be crazy. Y'all know y'all gonna kill me for it, but I'm gonna say it. Ben Simmons played, and that's what I'm gonna say. Ben Simmons played. So I'm happy for him that he played. And I hope that they do what they're supposed to do. Keep him, like I saw a little bit of the game. What he did, exactly what he's supposed to do. Get up and down the floor, throw a couple of dimes. Don't try to be the point guard. People like, or when you gonna shoot a 3-pointer? He's not a point guard. He's not a shooter. When y'all gonna get that out of your head? Quit trying to make somebody something they aren't just because the coach was wrong. The dude's not a shooter. So I'm interested to see what happens there. Another team that I thought was gonna be pretty good, but they lost their big fella, was Oklahoma City. They lost their big fella, and I think that's gonna be a little issue for them. I think from what I'm seeing, even though they didn't play great yet, I think if Murray can stay healthy, Denver could be a problem.
Yeah.
Because he's excited to be back. I was like, what you doing out there? They need to hold you out for about 20 games because you don't get hurt. But Denver could be a major problem if he can stay healthy and they can put things together.
Black, I'm hearing people saying with Gobert going to the Timberwolves, this is the missing piece that the Minnesota Timberwolves need. I had to admit, I was peeking at the Knicks game last night, and they were up by 10, and I'm like, okay, they're about to give up this lead. And then they were like, hey, the Knicks are up by 26. I'm like, wait a minute, what? So I refuse to get excited about it. You know, everybody seemed like they're gung-ho about it. It was only Detroit. But a lot of people are picking the Clippers as being the team in the West, with Kawhi Leonard coming back and John Wall being there, that the team in the West that are going to give the Golden State Warriors a run for their money this year.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not. I think the West is basically wide open, and to me, basically the West is going to be outside of Golden State at this point. Because I guess people are taking the Clippers because what's his name came back. Can't think of his name right now. He came back. He was out for a while.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard.
And they assume he would step on the court automatically. You know, I think Kawhi Leonard is not going to be Kawhi Leonard that we knew maybe a year, 2 years ago. It's going to take him a while to kind of get that going. Even with that said, I don't think the Clippers are deep enough. Now, I think they'll be well coached, but I'm not sure if they're ready to step into the driving seat of the West. To me, I look at Memphis. Are they going to elevate themselves this year a little bit more than they did last year? Because to me, that's what kept them from basically beating Golden State, just a lack of maturity. And I think Memphis is coming. Golden State is going to mature some too. They're younger players who can be real interested. I still think they're in the driver's seat. I'm going to say this right now. Ticketmaster, do me a favor. Stop sending me emails about the Knicks. I'm not buying no freaking tickets. Was it the Knicks? Cut it out.
No,
just cut it out, man. I'm sorry. I don't care if they had a 50-point lead. I know I bought that T-shirt a couple of years ago for $5. The best you're going to get out of me for the most part. Do the Knicks make the playoff? Realistically, until they make the playoff, you may not hear me say their name again this year, bro. Realistically, I watched Zion too a little bit. I was happy to see him on the floor, running him down, and it's if anything, man, with him, he has this joy to be out there, bro. It's not many times you see NBA players smile and act like they're enjoying what they're doing, and he's just out there like, you know what, bro, this is just, I don't care if they're not paying me, I'm enjoying being out here, and that's just good to see. I have to basically concur with what I said about Ben Simmons. It was good to see him out there, and I think he's in a place now. They realize what he can and cannot do, not wanting to do anything else. And it's funny how Durant wanted to be out of there, but I think if he shuts his mouth like he does, and I think the owner kind of made him shut his mouth, they're not going to have a bad team, bro. I think that when it's all said and done, they can stay healthy, and if they can find a way to basically, throughout the year, rest Kyrie Irving, maybe a little bit, rest him a little bit, at times rest Durant, they're not going to be in bad shape, bro. That team, the way they get up and down the court, where they're looking to run, if the supporting cast can come along, the Nets going to kind of surprise some people. And again, with Denver, like you said about Denver, Murray, watch him play a little bit too. You know, if he can elevate them some by coming back and stay healthy, it's going to be interesting, real interesting. But it's exciting because usually I'm not excited about NBA season starting. I'm not. But for some reason, I'm kind of looking forward to this one. It could be because I know the Lakers going to be stinking up the court. So that could be it. And I don't know if you've seen the first game of LeBron played in preseason.
No.
It was Clink City. Clunk, clunk, clink, clunk, clunk. It was like Westbrook was shooting, but he was in LeBron uniform. I think that's going to be an off and on for LeBron. I'm sorry, man. Father Time catch up with us all. So it's going to be interesting to see. I do like the NBA shrinking down the preseason. You don't need those games in basketball for preseason. They're like football. You don't need it all. These guys took care of themselves. It's going to take them a while to get in shape anyway. I mean, basketball shape. Throw the ball up. Let's get started, man. But it should be an interesting season because you got a lot of teams that's going to bring some different things to the league. Cleveland picked up the player in the offseason. So, yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah.
Pullman, let me throw something in there real quick. I'm making this declaration right now. I told y'all before, I'm making the declaration right now that the Boston Celtics losing their coach is going to affect them tremendously. They're not going to be the squad that they were. So with that being said, but I'm telling you, I ain't saying they're the front runner, but the team you better watch out for is the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm telling you this. It's not just because of Mitchell, because when you had those two big fellas in the middle with Mobley and the other big fella, and then Kevin Love coming out the bench. I mean, they right now, with the trade they made for Mitchell, man, they're going to be a problem. And they're young and they get up and down. They still kept LeVert, right? They let Sexton go. I'm telling you, they are going to be a problem. If they stay healthy and the coach doing what he's supposed to do, they're going to be a problem.
I'm going to put a mind jump at this point. I feel sorry for the Boston Celtics, bro. In a sense, because to come back from where they came from, it's hard to kind of lose the championship anyway and to rebound from that alone as young men. And I look at that team, he basically took them by the hand and pulled them through the season last year. Who on that squad is going to step up with leadership and handle business, bro? Who? You can't tell me what. Who? Who's going to be? And I think that's going to happen. I think when the road gets real rough for them and they see some adversity, it's not going to be pretty, bro. It's not going to be pretty. And that's, here again, we all know what they say what he did and the policy, all that stuff worked out. But to me, that act that he performed or did, whatever, I think going to set that franchise back at least about 3 years. At least 3 years, bro.
What I'm thinking,
I don't think he's coming back. This coach they put in right now, I think they kind of did a disservice by putting this coach in at this point. To me, he should have went out there and got someone to just replace him now. Forget just having this guy come in as go find yourself a head coach that can step in, do what he got to do, get this team rolling. Because if not, this guy's just a fill-in for a year. It's a wasted year. And I assume he's not coming back. He's not coming back to coach that team. You can still suspend him and hire somebody. Stop trying to be political correct. Just want to hire somebody, think about the franchise. Unless you think about bringing him back. But I don't see how you can bring him back. I just don't get it.
I don't think he's coming back either, but I could see, and I've been thinking about this since this has happened, is that the former coach will step out of the front office and come back.
It's not going to work.
God.
No, I think
know,
he would have done.
I know, but I'm thinking they're going to have him do that to try to stabilize it, and I don't think it's going to work. But this is what I think they're going to do.
I'm going to tell you something. If that was the case, in my opinion, I think we would have made the move now. I think he realized, if anything, and I think he's smart enough to realize this: they don't respond to him, bro.
True. Yeah.
Tatum and them don't respond. I think he realized he's smart because he could do that now and do both positions probably. But he realized they do not, and there's something to be said about our men being led by another one that looks like them. Something to be said because they kind of gave up first part of the year last year as a team, Tatum and all them. And I love Tatum as a player, but Tatum is not a killer. He's not a killer. He's just not. So I just don't get it. I think if that was going to happen, here again, I think they took the cheap route. Go get yourself a secure head coach, tell the team. And by doing it, tell the team, we're not slipping. No, he ain't here. He made a mistake. We're going to keep kicking ass and keep moving. By bringing this guy as a filler that never really kind of done anything, they're not going to respect him. When times get hard, guess what? Give me my paycheck. Let me get my 2025. I'll go home. We're all set. My opinion.
Yeah, they made a move, Boston, I'm talking about, with Blake Griffin, bringing them to the team. I've been reading articles. Yeah, I've been reading articles about him. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. I don't know how effective he's going to be. But he was talking about that this was the best locker room that he's been in since he's been a pro. And how the chemistry is there and these guys are mature than he expected them to be. So we'll see.
Really? Come on, bro.
I don't quote them often, but I'm gonna quote them here. Public Enemy. Don't believe the hype.
All right, this is a story that we're going to keep an eye on. We probably won't talk about it too much today, but the National Women's Soccer League, they're going through a time with a lot of women being sexually, emotionally, and mentally abused in that league. There are still some things shaking down, people leaving, people stepping down. So we want to kind of talk about that at a later time, but we are looking at that story and we want to give it its true time and devote time to it. But a lot of things are happening, and the other sports networks, I haven't seen them really talk about this to the extent that it needs to be talked about. But I will say that every month or two, we hear stories in women's sports about atrocities like this. So it's really, really sad that this is still happening in this day and age. And so we will keep up on that story, but we wanted to mention that we will talk about that at a later date. But now I want to go to the Major League Baseball report with Ice Water. Aaron Judge finally gets 62. They finally sit him down. A lot of people aren't giving Albert Pujols his due, because I guess everybody's been focusing on Judge. Albert Pujols hit 703 home runs. That's a lot of home runs. That's a lot of taking it out the yard. But you can talk about those two. And also, one of the things that I saw the baseball playoffs, the Mets should have played a little harder because they get San Diego and they lost their season series against San Diego 4-2. I'm not sure if the Mets are going to get past this round of the playoffs, to be honest with you. So take it away, sir.
Yeah, no problem. What can you say? Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs, very exciting. Of course, they notated that this was after the first 60 home run season for a person after the steroid era, right? Okay, yeah, okay, we got that. Anyway, but I just for him to outlast or surpass, if you will, Maris was very interesting, and I'm happy for Judge. Judge is a very tough player. He's marquee guy for baseball right now. So very interesting. Albert Pujols, yeah, a little late in the game, so a little long in the tooth when he came around a long time. That is a lot of home runs. Maybe they'll come back around and give him his just due, but you know how they do. There was a time, like I told you, when surpassing Babe Ruth was a major big deal, right? Babe Ruth was the big deal. Then all of a sudden, it's like they poo-poo it because a man of color surpassed him. So, you know how that goes. Now, it's not a big deal as it used to be, according to some, because it doesn't belong to certain people. But I hope Albert Pujols gets his just due, gets the love that he needs from the standpoint of what his career. He's had a great career, and I'm glad to see him still functioning and setting some records for his personal legacy at this point. Today is actually the last day of the regular season, Black Thor. The last day of the regular season for baseball. I don't have any wings, but if I was going to tell you of anything, if you really want to see top-notch quality baseball, you want to see something going on, playoffs about to start, they really play hard. And there's some very good teams right now to watch, to get involved with. As you look into the wild card scenario in the American League, you have Seattle will play Toronto. In that series. That's going to be exciting. Seattle's making the playoffs for the first time since 2001. 2001, I said that correctly. So their cities are hyped up about that, playing Toronto. The Tampa Bay Rays will play the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland's back in the playoffs. It's been a while for them as well. So that should be exciting. The winner of the Seattle-Toronto series will play the Astros, and that would be interesting too. And the winner of the Tampa Bay Rays and Cleveland Guardians plays Puma's beloved Yankees. So it'll be interesting from that standpoint as they move on. In the National League, Philadelphia will face St. Louis. Philadelphia has spent a lot of money over the years trying to get into the playoffs. And if things click, they could be a problem. But St. Louis is up to their old tricks, kind of playing small ball, not spending a lot of money, but they know how to win baseball games. And that's why they're in the position that they're in. So that should be exciting from that standpoint. And then the other series that Puma alluded to in the National League is going to be the San Diego Padres that finished basically 20 games behind the Dodgers, but they still made the playoffs versus the Mets. The Mets spent a lot of money, but they're a daggone good team. But the question is, can they turn it on when it counts? Now we're going to find out. Puma mentioned earlier, too, that the Padres won that series with the Mets. But the Mets have very solid pitching. They play well. And I'm not sure with the Padres losing Tatis being suspended, can they get over the hump with that? This is going to be a very exciting series. And what I find very exciting about it is the factor that one or the other, if the Mets win, I think if the Mets win, the Mets could be a problem for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I think they could be a problem because of the talent that they have secured and what they're doing from that standpoint. They could be a problem for that. And then the Braves was the defending champions from last year. If they play St. Louis, I think that could be a problem for the Braves as well. So exciting time for baseball. If you want to see some good baseball, because they do play hard. You don't have to go, 162 games are over. So you can go over that, but now it's for the money. And I'm looking for a couple of dark horses to come out of there. I would love to see, I'll say it till it ever happens or it doesn't. I would love to see Dusty Baker win one for the Houston Astros, but we'll see what happens.
Can I do a little editorial on baseball?
Sure.
And I don't say this to be mean or any ill will. Baseball to me ties itself to history way too much, bro. When someone breaks a record, I don't want to hear about Babe Ruth. I don't want to hear about Maris, none of it. You have a marquee guy, Aaron Boone, lighting it up. He can't take a swing. What are they talking about? Babe Ruth, Marison, and the rest of them. Johnny DiMaggio, they're dead. Their time is past. You need to start marketing these players, bro. They should have been all over Aaron Boone. Think about baseball. Name me one player that Madison Avenue has taken on with baseball. I'll wait. Just think about it. Go to football. There's a bunch of them. You go to back, there's a bunch. You know why in baseball? Because they're too busy. They too busy basically putting roses on Babe Ruth on burial site. That's years ago. Nobody cares about him anymore. These young kids don't want to hear that nonsense. But he can't do anything without them bringing it back to this one. They bringing it back to this one. I mean, when Yogi Bear, white men, honestly speaking, have a problem with baseball. They're too busy trying to please the old 50, 40, 60, 70-year-olds that basically ain't spending their money towards baseball in the first place. Your demographics need to get younger. Focus on the younger crowd. Stop talking about these old 40-year-old dogs that nobody cares about anymore. I don't want to hear about a man 50 years, 60 years ago. I don't care. I really don't. But they spend more time comparing themselves back to that time frame. Why? Because you got a bunch of white men that grew up with their fathers taking them to games. They can't let it go. So what? I remember, you turn on any talk show or radio. I remember my father, when I saw it, so nobody gives a, I'm serious. Move forward. Bring the game forward. Here again, you had a cat. I don't care who he's playing for. They should have been all over him. His name should be a household name, even if you don't like baseball. You don't. But no. Every time you talk about him, he gets covered up with this. He gets covered up with that. What is Barry Bonds? Nobody's thinking about Barry Bonds. Why you bring his name up? Why? Why make any association to any other thing than what he's doing? And that's the problem with baseball, as far as I can see it. And to respond to Pujols, in my opinion, Pujols is kind of murky. They're murky when it comes to steroids. A lot of us is. That's what people believe. So they're not going to give him that true big love because they're not sure. I'm not sure if he did it or not, but it's underneath that veil. But again, that's why they can't get the love. I don't hear about Babe Ruth no more. And you got a man hitting a home run. Why is Maris' son, or what if they wasn't even born then? Screw them. Why they there? Crying, and you don't even get away from that stuff. Stop with that nostalgia BS. I'm serious. We live in modern age, modern technology. I could talk to Alexa and get information. I don't need to keep hearing about Babe Ruth, the dad, the Mary, Johnny Maggio. I'm serious. Let it go. It's 2022.
So Black, I understand why you're hearing it so much, because you live in that part of the country where they're holding on to that.
No, it's not that, bro. It's not, I'll be honest with you.
Aaron Judge got a lot of play with this. He did.
Bro, he got a lot of hate.
He got a lot of hate from where?
And I'm looking at one of the person who's kind of hating him. He got a lot of hate.
No, I'm not hating him hitting a home run. I'm hating what I'm gonna see in the postseason. That's why.
You know what? It's simple. Sometimes marketing is not that hard. The man was going for 61, 62, whatever. You mean to tell me the league couldn't put out T-shirts to support this cat? People could buy it around the country? I'm being honest. Where? Just because he plays in New York? And I don't even listen to the stuff going New York about. I'm just saying from a marketing standpoint, they spend more time marketing dead baseball players. Yeah. More time. It's the truth. They're marketing what they have. You know how many people, you know how many Spanish people watch baseball, Dominican Republic? They never market those cats that are popular. They never market them. You're saying them like, who the hell is that? Because they don't get marketed, but they're doing good. But let Maris do something. Let some do something. Oh, Maris, fuck Maris. Excuse my language. I don't want to hear that name anymore. I'm tired. And I never paid attention to baseball. I'm tired of hearing that name. It's like a household name. Maris. Babe Ruth was a big drunk. Let's be honest. He was a fat drunk. I don't care who the that's who he was. But they treat him like he's some idol, like he's sitting underneath the Pope or somewhere. Cut it out, baseball. That's my editorial, bro.
That's the last second shot too, ain't it? No, just
I even got to give one this week. I already gave it. Grow up, man.
I do see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying, because it's almost like it's the standard that they're going to hold everybody to, no matter who comes along. Those are the standards. I don't know if you agree with that, Ice, but that it just seemed like Babe Ruth, Roger Maris, because in the American League, he hit 61 and the record is now 62. So, I mean, that's what baseball is. It's a lot of statistics. It's a lot of comparing different players from different eras. I mean, that's part of that's part of what I grew up looking at and what I probably
Boring.
hearing. Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, I get it. I get that. I'm saying this very quickly. I get it. But when you talk about Babe Ruth, okay, Babe Ruth was the greatest thing since sliced bread for a lot of people. But if we're gonna talk about Babe Ruth, how the hell can you not talk about Hank Aaron?
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. If you, I mean, yeah, you could say Babe Ruth in his time. A lot of times, Babe Ruth was along when there were no African American players. Let's keep this 100, bro, because the Negro League was kicking ass and taking names, but they were not recognizing them. But Babe Ruth, a lot of his accomplishments were not with people of color. Okay, I get that. But if you're gonna say Babe Ruth, also say, well, Pujols is getting closer. Was there a chance that he can stick around and maybe go out there? Hank Aaron's record. How about that? Hank Aaron broke that record back in the 70s. They had death threats for him, and it was the biggest thing forever until a black man broke it. And then they act like, well, all right, well, I guess that's done. It's like, damn.
It's not important anymore.
Yeah, they just kicked it to the curb. Like, damn. I grew up with baseball. I love baseball. I was a pitcher. I watched Hank Aaron, man. Dudes like, well, who, my man said, who did Hank Aaron hit 714 off of, when he broke the record? I said, 714, knocked it off Al Downing. It was a black pitcher from the Dodgers. 715, 714 off of Jack Billingham from Cincinnati. 715 off of Al Downing from the Dodgers. I said, because of who it was, that was that special to me. It was all around the country. People of color loved it, but you still coming back to Babe Ruth. You still coming back to the great Babe Ruth. Hell, then you gonna hit Babe Ruth. Why can't we talk about Josh Gibson? Do not get me started on that shit. So, I mean, don't just they pick and choose what they want to do, who they want to recognize. So if you're gonna go bring up the dead, let's bring up the good dead people. Because, and I'm gonna say this as I get off of this, as they said before, Jackie Robinson always said, yeah, I was a great baseball player, but I wasn't the best baseball player from the Negro Leagues. I was just the right one. So there was a lot of players that were a lot more talented and overall better talent-wise than Jackie Robinson, but they did not have the wherewithal and the mentality to put up with the BS that you had to come over. And Ricky knew that. That's why he chose Jackie Robinson. So no disrespect to just Jackie Robinson, but let's understand the damn history. We're gonna put it out there.
Let me throw a name out there that's still living. You don't even hear about anymore. I'm even gonna say his first and last name. Mr. October. Who's that?
Yeah.
What month are we in?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Or
he's living.
Yeah.
They treat him like he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And there's another player. I'm gonna throw his name out there. Who was better with? And I don't even follow baseball that closely when I was younger. I'm sorry. You name me a white man that was good with a glove as Willie Mays.
Yeah.
Show me that motherfucker. Show him to me. Any era. Show him to me. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
A lot of people need to look at the record that the Negro League, when they played the major leagues, look at the record. Because folks are like, we don't want to compare that because it's two different leagues. The Negro League beat the major leaguers by a whopping amount in their series. Whopping. So when people come up and say, oh, well, you can't mix that, you can't count that. No, when they play head to head, the Negro Leagues always got the best, almost always got the best of the major leagues.
Goons, baby.
Facts. Black, first question, man.
Sure. But I got it. I'm ready to roll, man. This question may not be popular. I'll put it out there. Because we seeing the white heroes fall, bro. We seeing them fall. Brett Favre coming on down the ladder, just a matter of time. And a hero that everybody kind of basically puts on a pedestal after he's a great dad and great husband, all this stuff, Tom Brady. His wife is seeking divorce. Yes, I said it. So why? I mean, a year ago, anytime anything was going on in the White House, whatever, we saw that on ESPN everywhere. Why I can't see that anywhere? And I won't hear about his personal life. It's news. It's news. Maybe it's affecting his play. We should talk about it. Because guess what? He hasn't been playing well this year. And I don't want to hear about his receivers. He get to go 59. Because he made good receivers better. He made Hall of Fame receivers in New England when his wife was on his side. So why are they running and scared to talk about this? I'm not as scared.
Ice?
Yeah, well, I mean, they pick and choose what they want to do with the media. It's clear that he's not having the season that he was. I told y'all last week what Mahomes was going to do. Y'all thought I was playing. I told you Mahomes was going to put that thing on him. He went down there, they got beaten in the Super Bowl in the city. My man was like, I don't give a Tom Brady, you not the Tom Brady used to be. We're gonna get in that booty. That's what they did, and they punished him. Tom Brady to go like, he came out there, got mad, and threw about a couple touchdowns. But at the end, it really comes down to what they believe, and they still had this thing like he can't be touched and he's purer than all whatever than driven snow. But what you're finding out, that he has a lot of chinks in his armor, and part of that is the fact that he's showing you now that he's human. You know, you're going through this divorce, wife like, I told you supposed to come home, and he cannot, no matter what, even though he wants to, he cannot will the football team to be great because they're not that good. He's older, and football is better. It's better. It's just better. And he's trying. He's saying all the right things, but you know, sometimes when you don't have things right at home, it's crazy. But the media like, oh, that's just, you know, just leave Tom where he is. Tom's okay. You know, Tom needs to retire. And if you're getting divorced, you might as well go to the house and get your couple girls, whatever you're going to do. You need to move on, bro. You already got it set up in the booth. Your game, you know, I love Tom. I'm one of the biggest Tom supporters because of what he was able to do on the field. It's about that time, bro. Go on and cash it in. Go on and deal with the divorce proceedings, whatever you got to do. Go on and deal with the negative. No, you're not going to get no negative publicity. Go on and deal with what you got to do and move on to Fox, bro, because it's a wrap. It's a wrap. This is one time Gronkowski can't save you, bro.
Yeah, I was thinking about this story. I don't know why. There could be a number of reasons why they're not reporting it. Maybe it's because they feel like they need to keep Tom Brady in that kind of pedestal, on that pedestal that they put him on, and they don't want to shake that. But I remember years ago where I think he got hit real hard, and people thought he was concussed. And I guess she kind of covered up and said, she said something, and then he had to come back and say, oh no, everything's fine, things of that sort. Maybe she's a very caring wife to say, listen, I'm tired of going through this. You're getting hurt, things of that sort. They made promises. This will be my last year. He decided, no, this is not going to be my last year. I got to go back because this is what we do. It's almost like an old boxer who refuses to quit and doesn't know when to kind of take the curtain call and leave. So there could be some other marital problems going on because you got AB showing pictures on social media with him and her hugged up. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. There may be some other things going on that we don't know about. What I kind of think was going to happen, Black, is that throughout this divorce proceeding, they're going to try to make it private, but you know, folks will get that information and come out with stuff that may not make Tom look as good as everybody's been kind of showing all these years. And maybe that is kind of getting to him too, because there are probably some skeletons in the closet that he doesn't want out. Black?
Yeah, I remember you said that when the NFL wanted his phone, he broke his phone.
He broke his phone, yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, don't pick this up without me giving you the opportunity. Please, don't. But anyway, I feel for anyone's going through a divorce. So I'm not trying to pile on and pick on, but all I'm saying is that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If we're going to talk about other people's personal lives and stuff that's going on in their life and say it might be affecting their play, it should be no different when it comes to Tom Brady. I know he won 20 Super Bowls. I don't care. He's playing. He's human. We have to treat him as such. Stop idolizing this man like he could do no wrong. And that's why people now are waking up to Brett Favre. He's been dumb for years. And trust me, if they could, they should take Brett Favre right out of the Hall of Fame because they don't belong to be in there. But realistically, let's start treating men like who they are. They're just football players. They do something we want to watch, but that don't mean they're not like just us. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right, Ice. Question?
Okay, my question is, when you talk about some of the best quarterbacks in football right now, right? You've been talking about Patrick Mahomes. Black Thor mentioned about Magical. We talked about that before. But why is it that certain players just don't get any love? Why do they refuse? And maybe you hear some people talk about he's worth the money, but don't you think Lamar Jackson deserves a little bit more love? Or why is he not being recognized as like just that guy? And I hear the stuff with how much money he deserves from a lot of people, but I don't hear them go, who is the best quarterback in the NFL? They don't say Lamar Jackson. I don't hear that. I never ever heard that. But why?
Black?
Well, I'll say this. I don't think Lamar Jackson, they're still saying he's the front runner MVP, bro. So you think about that in a short period of time, he's 1-1, he's leading now. I don't know much more they could say about him. But I think the thing about Lamar that's kind of, we may not focus in on, Lamar has gradually done it. I mean, when he won the MVP, then he came out the following year, he kind of had like a little setback. He did some things. But one thing he's done every year is come back and improve himself. But when you look at Holmes kicked the door in, bro. Holmes came out slinging and throwing like a gunslinger, accurately doing it all the way. It kind of took Lamar a little while to get there. He ran it more in the beginning. So as Lamar starts to, kind of grow, it's going to get there. And I don't see where they're kind of holding back on giving it to him because he's putting it out there and showing. And again, if they think that he's the most, at this point, leading the league and the most valuable player, to me, I don't think they're running away from it. I think sometimes we want to give him more gloss, but at the same time, he's going to have to do something in some big games. Lamar's got to win some big, and I mean, win it. He's got to win it like Patrick Mahomes have done it. I mean, I thought even when Patrick Mahomes won the MVP of the Super Bowl, I didn't think he was the MVP of that Super Bowl. I thought the running back was. My son and I was saying it all night long. He brought them back, but it wasn't done where in the sense of Patrick Mahomes' way of bringing them back. So I think sometimes the sensationalism kind of gets carried away with, and at certain times, Patrick Mahomes has done it where it can sensationalize it, where Wilson's kind of been doing it steady and just increasing slowly.
He doesn't fit the mold of an NFL quarterback. He doesn't. His skin color doesn't fit the mold. The way he speaks doesn't fit the mold. The way he plays doesn't fit the mold. So I believe that's why he's not getting the love that he deserves, because he's pretty much, the old Stevie Wonder song, he's playing by himself, man. He's playing by himself. He ain't got no weapons. He got no weapons. But when you see him in front of a camera, when you hear him speak, certain people don't like the way he speaks. When you see him out there playing, he's not staying in the pocket because he can't stay in the pocket. He'd be hurt by now. And he kind of plays playground football sometimes. He has to, because that's the way they designed that offense for him. The way he looks, the braids, him not really caring about how he looks and how he presents himself. I think that is the big reason why he's not getting love. You hear Patrick Mahomes, he's well-spoken, he's a lighter shade, he says what you want to hear, he's more acceptable to certain folks, and especially to media. With Lamar Jackson, not too many people are feeling that. And I'm just being honest with that.
Can I say something real quick on that note? But even with, and I'm not trying to push back on what you're saying, this is where I love Lamar, basically being his own agent. I love that. But that's why I think it hurts him. Because your agent goes out here and get these other things popping. They get this commercial for you. They get that. They sell you where he can't do that and be Lamar Jackson.
No.
And that's why I think Patrick Mahomes has basically skyrocketed in that sense. I mean, you look at, like I said this last week, you look at the receiver that came from Green Bay. How did he basically leave Green Bay? And now this cat got commercials because his agent knew he was hot when he got traded, and you're out there. And that's where Lamar doesn't have that capability. He's not, as an agent, that's where he's being hurt, because he needs somebody out there. Your agent is always out there doing this. Always.
Remember I asked you like a couple of weeks ago, should he get an agent?
For his contract, no.
Yeah. Okay.
For his contract, no. But for his PR and to sell himself. But I don't think Lamar wants that. I don't think he wants that. But at the same time, that's where I'll say that more so than the color of his skin. I'll do. Because I think if he had that, somebody out there speaking for him, because there's a part of the population that don't look like us, younger part of the population I'm talking about, that's crazy about Lamar. But who knows how are they getting to? Because he's not a big social media person. He's not none of that stuff. But if you had an agent that says, you know what, this I'm going to leverage you, do this, do that, whatever the case may be, I think he would be there. Just my opinion.
Ice?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that from the standpoint of marketing. A lot of things can be done where you can still not have to really change who he is, but it just lets more people being more comfortable with him in different arenas. But they don't do that, and I think he's okay with it because he's getting his money, and that's all they really care about. So that's how he sees it. But his play, though, is just at times phenomenal. Like you said, he got 9 tight ends, and you don't even know who the hell the wide receivers are. When they got rid of Hollywood Brown, name me one wide receiver on their team right now, if you can. Do you know?
Nope.
And that's sad. And then you got a bunch of running backs, but he does these great things, and he runs for a 72-yard touchdown, and they still lose. So I don't know. As you mentioned, maybe he's going to have to win bigger games, but the way that they do it, if they continue to not provide him with the talent, that he's always going to be in the position that he's in, because he can't do it by himself. No, how great he is or whatever. You saw when Michael Vick was on his run when he at his highest level. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get it done. He could not advance because you can't. One man, don't care how great a quarterback you are, can't get it done by himself.
Right. Black, you got another one?
Yeah, man. I want to put this out there, man, because I was saying this to my son a couple of weeks ago, and I found this to be interesting. I know NFL claim they test for steroids. I don't think they do a good job of it, bro. I just don't. I've seen players retired. Sure, they retired. Link up. And I'm not saying he took steroids or not, but have you seen Gronk in the latest Subway commercial compared to what he was 6 months ago? And this makes me wonder. And something happened recently that kind of piqued my interest. J.J. Watt, I'm not sure if you guys saw the story or not. They had to basically shock his heart into rhythm a week ago.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt's only 33 years old. Who am I to say what he's taken, what he's done, what not done? But if you look at his stature, does it make you question it a little bit? So my point is, I think some of these cats, man, I've seen, there's a player that used to play in Cleveland, offensive lineman. He left Cleveland. Cat was huge. He's on NFL TV right now. He's about eye size. I'm just saying, man. What's up? That's my question. What's up?
Ice is a pretty big dude, so
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying he's not. He ain't no offensive lineman, big dude.
That's why I call my big brother. He's a big dude. Ice.
Yeah. Are you gonna make me offensive line, bro?
You're not an offensive line, big dude. I'm just saying.
I'm saying, look.
You're not that big.
I'm still running the 4.640, baby. What you talking about? I'll be big long as you let me keep my speed. But I see what he's talking about. But I think for a long time there has been issues with drugs and stuff like that too. I mean, you look at Lyle Alzado, man. Yeah. What a sad situation. And now everybody's trying to act like it doesn't happen again, or it's still not happening. I think they have a better way to mask it now, because it's higher level as far as the technology and whatnot. I think they have a better way to do it, because some people are just trying to find a edge, right? They're never going to be on a certain level of other people, so they got to find ways to do it. I think that's always been an issue. All of a sudden we go, oh, that's not happening now in modern day. Are you serious? They just found a different way to mask it, bro. I believe that. And I'm not saying everybody's cheating, but in certain scenarios, as you mentioned, dude's huge, and then all of a sudden they shrink down. I mean, you look at certain guys, you go, damn, how the hell? So I just think it's a better way to mask it. If people want to keep believing that all these guys were just pumping up, and ain't that much weights in the damn world, bro. Ain't that much creatine in the world. Hey, they was doing it back in the day. I think they're still doing it right now. It's just we're not paying attention as we did before.
Yeah, I remember helping out in a football camp here in Illinois with a number of NFL players, and I'm not going to call out some of the players who share this with me. There are illegal substances, but there are legal substances that folks can use. And one of the players, and they say this in college, some of the college players I talked to, and some of the pro players that were talking about it around, we're talking about a packet of vitamins that you get, and teams do this, packet of vitamins or supplements that you get, especially if you're underweight, that you need to take, or you're kind of encouraged to take in order to keep up and help you with your performance. Now, these are illegal substances. They're illegal substances. But when you're not playing anymore, there's no need to take those things. So get black there, you shrivel up because you no longer are fighting for a job, and you no longer have to keep your weight up to do those particular jobs. So I see this happening. They'll feed you. You don't have to really pay for food because they're feeding you all the time. Food is already accessible there, and then you have vitamins, you have supplements that you need to take. And I wouldn't put it past them that these supplements have some stuff in it that should be illegal, but are not illegal, that are puffing these guys up. Black?
I love what we do here, gentlemen. I'm serious because who else is talking about this? Who? And it's amazing. It's right in front. It's obvious, and no one is talking as far as I'm concerned. And it should be spoken. So we can't act like we care when we really don't care and we turn a blind eye. If you're going to beat the hell out of baseball for using steroids, hey, when we're going to beat NFL up for it? Yeah, that's okay because they hit each other, I guess. But it's obvious to me. It is. With some of these players, when, like I said, once they retire, and you can watch them. Once they retire, you kind of take a picture from the moment that they retire, look at them 3 or 4 months later. I'm talking offensive linemen, defensive tackles, tight ends, you name it, bro, a bunch of them. And a lot of them are well known and they're on television. And you look at their physique and you go, huh? It is what it is.
This is another way that we talk about the NFL just keeping everything below the equator, right? Keeping it low. So when we looking, we're week what of the season? I can't even, what are we in? Week what?
Week 5.
Week 5.
Week 5. Okay, so everybody's excited. Woo! We get our picks in, everybody's excited. And I'm like, didn't Brian Flores have a lawsuit? Wasn't this the travesty that more African Americans are not head coaching material, not receiving opportunities in the front office?
We gotta wait for that after the Super Bowl.
But I'm like, well, where the hell Brian Flores at? He over on the sideline making his notations and doing what he calculations with Coach Tomlin. And I'm like, what happened to this travesty? This is an outrage. What happened to all that? You hear nothing. Play on, guys. I mean, come on, really? I mean, now what? They took a break. There's still travesties not happening. So I want to know from you guys, what gives? Everybody chilling, ain't nobody kneeling. I mean, everybody just watching football. What? Everybody excited about Rihanna? What happened?
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Well, let me jump in and say this, man. Quietly, and we may have forgotten, they came out with a pack 2 months ago, where they're going to force more teams to have more men of color in assistant coaching positions. They're going to force basically that you have to kind of interview, stuff of that nature. So to me, the NFL has found a way quietly to basically muzzle that lawsuit, even when it comes in front of a judge. They kind of put a muzzle on it since they kind of done some things to kind of basically shut it down. If you notice, when the owner of the Miami Dolphins got caught with everything else, the first thing they came out and said, he didn't tell him to basically, throw games away. That's the first thing. Before they said, oh yeah, he was trying to get Tom Brady and all that stuff, they came out immediately and said, nope, we didn't find any evidence of that. We didn't, because they took him, got him out the way, and I'm pretty sure I'm at this point ready to believe Brian Flores on that. I'm willing to believe him on that one. But they kind of made sure that no, that can't stand up in court. There's nothing to prove, and they can say that when you go to court. You look, Your Honor, we investigated, we found he was doing this, we found that, but we didn't find any evidence to back up what this man is saying. So in a way, to me, they muzzled his way. And I was, even Sunday, it was a Sunday night against the 49ers. There are some at this point right now, and this is none of the NFL doing. DeMarco Ryans, I think his name is, the coordinator for San Francisco 49ers.
Defensive
coordinator. That cat's gonna be a coach sometime soon, bro. I just someone's gonna give him a head coaching job. Now, I know we're looking at Bieniemy, and I'm gonna be honest. I said this, I thought a couple of years, and I said, I think Bieniemy was his own worst enemy. And what's happening now, who's gonna get that cat a head coaching job? I don't care what color he is, bro. It's just, I don't think he does well to kind of get the job. And that's not to say NFL should be doing more, but again, I think they've done some things. And when you got a president, when you have a franchise who's always been innovative in this, in my opinion, the Raiders hired a president that's a black woman, bro. And then we forget, You have women on the sideline in Washington, assistant coaches. I think there's another team. So it's like they have sprinkled some powder around to where when that lawsuit comes, hey, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Should more be done? Need to happen? Yes. I think the whole owners more accountable. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I'm speaking from a technical and a lawyer's type of sense. That lawsuit's not gonna work, bro. And in my opinion, realistically, he would have been better. I'm not saying to help this case. He should have not been on the sideline this year. He should have not took the job with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He shouldn't have taken it. Because what they're going to say is, okay, you're working with a franchise. You still have an opportunity to get a job again. It's not like we boxed you out. We didn't shut you out because you're working, getting paid. So it was, to me, his lawyers have said to him, no, you got to turn that down. I don't care if he went and sold cars while this case was working. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't, because it basically takes away from, and I guarantee you, here's what's going to happen. In the offseason, you don't think he's going to walk out and somebody offer him, not necessarily going to get a job, he's going to get interviewed. And that's what else can they do? They say, well, you was able to go through the door. So it was a dummy move on my point. If you're going to file a lawsuit against them, you got to play the game, bro. It's like basically trying to get disability. You can't say, hey, my hand is broken, then they catch you outside using an axe. You just can't do it. You can't do it. You may want to do it, but you can't do it.
You took my thunder because I don't think he has much of a case. And when he took the job with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that pretty much closed the case for him. Because now you can't go back and say you were discriminated against by the NFL and different teams. And so you were saying that the owner of the Dolphins, hey, we did an investigation. We didn't find that he said that. I thought the case, he didn't really have a case. He was just really kind of jumping up and down and screaming and all that other stuff. Now, he might want to go to HBCU, but I don't think he wants to do that. He wants to coach on the NFL level. I don't think he has a case. I never thought he really had a case. He wanted to make big noise. He wanted to jump on the bandwagon. He thought he was part of the club. Then he found out he wasn't a part of the club. And then, he got all butthurt about it and made a bunch of noise. And now you hear nothing. You hear nothing. And I think after this year, he'll probably be out as Pittsburgh Steelers coordinator, to be perfectly honest. But I never really thought he had a case in the first place. And I think I mentioned on the show, I talked to some attorneys about the case, and he was like, no, he really doesn't have a case. And I said it when he took the job. It's like his wife said, hey, got to pay this Cobra. You got to pay these bills. You better take that Pittsburgh Steelers job. Shut up. That's good work.
And here's another thing, too, man. Think about this. He didn't want Tua.
No.
He didn't want Tua last year. He didn't want to coach him, didn't want him. Look how Tua, until he got hurt, was playing, bro.
Yeah.
Is it Tua or is you your coaching ability?
And from day one, I said, go back and watch the videos. He is not a good football coach. He is not a good football coach. So to me, it wasn't about race. He was pulling the race card. To me, he's a bad coach. He's not a good coach.
I agree.
Yeah, like I told you before, when he signed the contract, when Tomlin brought him in, I was like, the case has totally been diminished as far as any strength that it had. You had a couple people piling on, Hugh Jackson and some other folks, but at the end of the day, you really didn't have a lot of evidence to go with it. And I think if you're going to do this type of thing, or you're going to move forward with this case to really get some legitimate push, you got to have a person that's going to stand out and represent it, right? And Flores didn't do that. He's in the back. He's in the behind the scenes going, oh, yeah. Where you guys want to talk to me about it, I'll talk about it. But then I get to practice. They already knew. Look, so they set the tone, as Black Thor mentioned earlier, a couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago, whatever, to the standpoint of them coming up with this plan to do other things as far as hiring other men of color to be in these positions and whatnot. And so what they do to kick it off, they tell Tom, look, go on to hire Flores, man. We about to put this thing down anyway, so we about to put it in the paper. So go on and hire him to show them what we talking about. And Flores, like you said, the wife told him, you better pay this damn light bill. He already trying to strike like you out here by yourself. He said, you are not Mr. Flood, Kurt Flood in baseball. She's like, when you stand alone, they're not gonna follow you and they're not gonna support you. And we need to check. And that's what she told him. And guess what he did? He ran back to Tomlin. You ain't heard nothing from him. So I'm like, Got to get that money, got to get that paper. Paper goes a long way. People say what they want to, but at the end of the day, where you at?
You know,
yeah, we are, all right, yeah. You get that, Jim? All right, Coach, we're ready.
and think about this real quick, man, before we get off this real quick. Prior to Flores being hired under Thomas regime, there's never been a black assistant head coach hired for Mike Tomlin.
Right.
From the team that has the Rooney Rule that started it. Think about that for a second. How long did Rooney Rule been out? How long Tomlin been in? If you look down the sideline, Shannon Sharp brought that out. He's never hired a black assistant coach. Well, all of a sudden, Flores is it? Flores. You mean to tell me you can go to HBCU and find assistant all these years, Tomlin? So I'm sorry, bro. I mean, I'm just gonna say this like I feel it. Tomlin, sometimes you gotta open the fucking door behind you, bro. Don't go in and walk in and close it and put a deadbolt on it. And that's what he did in Pittsburgh, in my opinion. He did that, but nobody calls Tomlin out for it. Because guess what? Pittsburgh, most of the time, have good season and people they travel around, but I'm sorry, bro. I see Tomlin for who he is. He's a Negro that wants the only one, well, he should be the only one at the party that looks like him. That's it. The only one. So he called himself doing a favor, and I think when it came out, I'll hire. No, bro. Your track record speaks for itself. I don't care how many games you won.
I don't think it was him, Black. I think it was the Rooneys.
Bro.
The NFL guy with the Rooneys is like, hey, we need a solid. We need a solid on this.
I'm sure the Rooneys did, but my point
is,
you
were like, listen, you're gonna come here and you're gonna shut your mouth and you're gonna coach.
I get that, but you mean to tell me all these years, in spite of that, why Tomlin couldn't hire a black assistant head coach, bro?
That I don't know.
I don't think Rooneys told him not to.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
No, so my point is, you never walked through the room and said, I got, because you had many coaches that left you. Haley, all these guys left you. You never walked in there and say, hey, I want to hire this cat. I doubt it. Too afraid to, because again, he wants to be the only Negro at the party. Save all that adulation for me. Don't give it to another Negro. Give it to me, bro. I'm serious. And that's what was said about Stephen A. at ESPN. Mm-hmm. I'm being honest. And we have those Negroes around, bro. They want to be the only one in there getting attention, getting the gloss, getting the adulation. Damn that. Open the door, allow us to walk through. Because someone opened the door for your black ass to walk through. It is what it is.
Yeah. Last second shot, Ice.
Yeah, kind of working with this. I saw something the other day where Jeremy Lin has come out and said that race has played a part in his not him not being in the NBA. And I thought about it. I'm like, okay, you had insanity and he's done well with the G League, D League, B League, whatever. And he played over in China and he got a ring. And Linsanity was 2012 though, bro. We 2022 right now. And my thing was, he said it's a 12-game stretch he didn't play well, and he can't get even a look at a non-guaranteed contract. And all I'm gonna say is this, man. There are a lot of people that don't make the NBA. There are a lot of people of color that don't make it. And sometimes I think with Jeremy Lin, your story is impeccable. It's great. You left slept on somebody's couch and came out then. You had a great minute and a half in New York. You did your thing. But at some point, we all have ceilings, bro. You might be the best G League player ever. You might average 8. You might lead the league in scoring, rebounding, whatever it may be. But we all have a ceiling. And if you're not good enough to make it in the league, you're just not good enough. You hit the ceiling. So should they do you a solid because you got a rep? I don't know. But sometimes you're just not damn good enough, bro. So ain't nothing wrong with playing in China. You're making over 6 figures, bro. That's a nice damn living. Because you can't make it. You're not good enough to play in the league, bro. You're not good enough. That's all I'm going to say with that. I'm sorry about the way you feel about it, but, bro, you ain't good enough. You ain't good enough. Larry Bird recognized, he said I'm the best white boy ever. He never said I'm the best black man or whatever. He recognized where he was at, whose league he was in. He said, I just want to be the best. In so many words, I'm cool with being the best white boy ever. He cool with that. And last but not least, I'll say something real quick. As you know, Puma and I both attended Wilberforce University. We lost one of our brothers, man, today. Mike George is from the Bronx, New York. We called him Mike G. At Wilberforce University, we are a family brother. Love that brother. Dancing machine. He was true New York, baby. MC, Mike, all of that, bruh. Had the hip hop thing popping. And Chicago might have come up with house music, but they had one hell of a fan of Mike G, bruh. Rest in peace, big brother. Miss you, love you, brother. Damn, and never be the same. Much love, baby.
Anyway, Black.
I am going to just close out with this, man, because I think I gave my last second 3-point shot early. But all I'm going to say is don't allow commentators to basically cloud your judgment, cloud your way, or basically such intelligence. Still use your common sense, see through some of the BS sometimes, see what they're not saying, see how they're trying to influence you to think a certain way. Because trust me, they don't not speak from angles. They really do. They don't put stories out there from angles. It's basically what they want you to believe, how they want to sell things to you, and they are influenced. Keep that in mind. They are heavily influenced. So if anything, as you listen to what we've said tonight, some things that I put out there, think about it. You know, why are they running from certain things? Why are they not talking about certain things? Why is everything slanted to basically people that they like? You know, why over the years have they basically force-fed you to love LeBron? And it's nothing against LeBron. Why have they force-fed you to do that? Think about that for a second. You know, realize that everything that comes to that TV comes to you for a reason. And the bottom line is money. Give it some thought.
This is how far this country has gone with punishing people who are smart or achieve. There's a Little League team. It's a story, Little League football team, 13-year-olds. And we're going to have a great season, probably win the championship, but they had to forfeit 4 games and probably won't make the playoffs, probably won't get championship run because one of their players is not in middle school, but tested so high in his academics that he's a sophomore in high school. And they have a rule in this Little League football league where if you're in high school, you can't play. Does that sound even right? You get punished for being smart. So I guess that adds on to the adage of dumb jocks. You just want dumb jocks. You don't want smart people playing sports because that's not the norm. And that's where this country has gone to. Dumb people running dumb sports.